the train station and we're heading from Rome to Naples.
Get on the train to head to Naples.
We're in the business class cabin of the train. We're on our way from Rome to Naples, and we just got served my prosecco in a paper cup.
Arrived in Naples, on our way to the hotel, and then we get to explore. So we've just arrived in Naples, and we are staying at the Nova Relais, and we're just going to give you a room tour. So we're in number 5. Coming through the front entrance is Sharon. This is the bathroom. Toilet, bidet, sink, nice looking shower. Coming to the main bedroom area, there's Taylor. Has one balcony. Looks out onto the street. It's down the street. So we come back in. There's a little study area. The main bed. Storage area. There's Taylor on the bunks. There's Chloe, revealing another balcony. And looks out onto the street of Naples.
We're exploring the streets of Naples.
Here's Taylor and Chloe. We're walking to the Duomo in Naples, down some side street. There's Sharon behind me. Heading to the Duomo of Naples, down these little side streets.
We're at the Duomo in Naples. We're at the Duomo in Naples. We're at the Duomo in Naples.
The Duomo of Naples, or Catedral di San Gennaro, is the city's main church and a major religious and historical landmark. Built in the 13th century under Charles I of Anjou, it blends Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque styles due to centuries of renovations. It's most famous for housing the relics of San Gennaro, Naples' patron saint, including vials of his blood that reportedly liquefy during annual ceremonies, a deeply significant event for locals. Inside, you'll find the royal chapel of the Treasure of San Gennaro, stunning frescoes by Domenichino and Lanfranco, and the 4th century Santa Restituta Basilica, one of the oldest Christian churches in Naples. So we've just arrived in Pompeii. We're about to get a guided tour, and we're just heading towards the front gate at this point in time. We are excited. This is the original flooring in Pompeii itself at one of the amphitheaters, and you can see how large it is.
This was the original square where people gathered in Pompeii, where the marketplace was. And they had some shelter built over where the columns were originally from.
So this columns here were originally destroyed in an earthquake. So that darker brick is evidence of restorations that they did. And you can see the inscription in 69 AD, and you can see even the brickwork that was put in on the column itself was to try and restore it. They originally would have then put like plaster over the top just to make it look like marble. That's Mount Vesuvius in the background, and that's the culprit that destroyed Pompeii in 79 AD. And we're currently standing in a large courtyard where the markets used to be. This is surrounding a big doorway. It's actually marble. It's dusty because of the ash that was all over it. However, back in the day, it would have been really colourful.
This is part of the main street, and the pedestrians back then actually stepped across these stones like this so their sandals wouldn't get wet, whilst the carriages would go between them.
And this is the original street, or one of the original streets in Pompeii, still as it was from 79 AD. This was actually some of the houses. They were actually double-storey at one point, and it looks out onto the street, and that's how close your neighbours were. So this mark on the concrete indicated a shop where the wooden doors were, and that's what the shop would have looked like. And it was possibly a flower shop. This was another shop. This is actually the interior. I would say he's probably a tiler, but he could have been a real estate selling property. That was his neighbour. These are some original tiles from Pompeii. This is another entrance to someone's house, a more wealthy person. And if you come through here, you can see there's like a little pond at the start. And then if I zoom in, you'll see they had like gardens and things like that. Obviously, more wealthy people. So this street obviously is on an incline. All the dirty water, sewage and things like that would come down through here and then would end up in that pipe. And God knows where it went from there. So this is a pestle where they used to ground all up the flour and so forth to make the bread. As I pan back, this is actually the bakery. You can see where they used to prepare all the bread. And then in there where Sharon and Chloe are is where they used to cook it. Used to make some cream buns. Another example of their ingenuity, another stepping stone so that they wouldn't get their feet wet when they crossed this. However, you can see it allowed the carts to drive over the wheels on the outside so it never got stuck so they could drive down the street. This is one of the public bath areas. So this is the original piping, copper piping for the plumbing. So this area with the inscriptions on the walls is a exercise area just down to the right, and over there is a pool. This is a cold bath area where the wealthy guys used to come to have their baths, and this was all actually under ash at one point. These were the lockers that the men used to be able to put their clothing and so forth in. And you can see above the lockers have carvings as well. This area is where they used to create the steam. They used to put fire underneath there and obviously heat the water to make like a sauna. And even the walls were double thick just to insulate the room and make it hotter. And this was the pool that was used beside the exercise yard. They're the original tiles on top of a portion of a roof. See some statues in the centre with a good view looking back onto the mountains in the background inside the centre of someone's house. This is what the doors were. They were wood back in the day, and they would have been pulled Yep, they were concertina doors, and they would have been pulled from the door handle there, as Chloe's demonstrating, and would have been pulled back to the left to open up. Pretty clever. So this is original messages that were actually written for elections or propaganda to try and get certain people elected within the community. This guy here was the god of wine, and he used to be on the wall outside the bar. This is a bar, original tiles still remaining. It would have served some pretty good alcohol, I reckon. Not sure if their wives would be too happy about them coming and getting too drunk, but at least had a few neighbours pretty close that could jump on the couch if they got kicked out. This was a shop, used to serve food, a Pompeii subway, and they would have lived upstairs, and this little groove in the stone is actually where the door was. This little alcove was used to put the statues of their gods so they could obviously worship them throughout the city. So this was a gym. They actually used to come in here to exercise. You can see on the back wall there's paintings. They would have had to source their paint from different clays. There's even a column just on the bottom left there that is still original. See, this is the original piping.
Male and female.
Male and female.
Yeah, they
Look how clever they are. This is inside one of the houses. Looking onto the garden area. Some of the rooms that used to face into the garden area. This is another house. There's the atrium that was only for show. It was always full of water. A lady resting on a leaf, it looks like, with a gladiator warrior standing nude. Crazy that it's this preserved throughout this whole complex. There's houses and paintings and tiles that are all preserved, basically frozen in time from 79 AD. So just on the wall here we have a phallic symbol. They used to consider them to be good luck. You can see my hand, that's about a replica size. And then you've got these smaller ones on the outside. They actually used to have, make smaller ones as pendants and wear them around the neck for luck, keep the demons away. On each corner of the street they used to have drinking fountains. I'll pan around, you'll see the street itself. Goes all the way down there. And just off to the left where those people are was actually a cellar. Goes down underneath. That's original table and well inside one of the houses. These holes in the bench were what they used to determine the denomination for the coins, and that was what was used by the tellers. And when the patrons came in to buy food, that was how they told how much they were paying.
I'm about to go and fight a lion.
Coming down into the arena where the gladiators used to come down to fight.
We have two gladiators here. We have Kurt on the left and Taylor on the right, brother and sister gladiators. Go.
This is where the gladiators used to train. Various items that have been uncovered during the archaeological dig. These are some of the interior walls that have been removed from the wealthier people's houses. They're all painted with detailed pictures. And that was Pompeii. Pretty impressive. Can't believe how preserved some of the people and buildings are. It's crazy. Walking the streets of Naples. We're going to get dinner at a pizzeria. Hopefully it's yum.
At Naples having Italian pizza. Cheers.
So we're here in Naples. We just finished dinner, had a lovely pizza, and we just got a limoncello to like a shot to drink. 3, 2, 1.
Oh no.